Our next guest is firing back this morning after being fired from his presidency seat of the U.S. Human Rights Campaign, the country's largest LGBTQIA plus advocacy group. Alphonso David's the first person of color to serve as president of the Human Rights Campaign was let go last September. It was after the New York State Attorney General said he advised former Governor Andrew Cuomo about dealing with his sexual harassment allegations. So a lot to unpack this morning. Alphonso joins us right now. And first off, thank you for starting your day with us and sharing your side of this, because a lot of people woke up, they took interest when they read about your firing, when they heard about it. When you were fired by a group that you so proudly advocated for, really for years, since 2019, I believe, what was the initial reaction? What was your gut?
Well, first, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for reporting on this story. When I heard the news, and I heard it through the press, I was shocked. And I was deeply disappointed because it came from an organization that purports to be a civil rights organization. And this firing led me through an emotional spiral that I'm actually still recovering from. I have built a reputation and a career over 20 years working in the private sector, the public sector, the non-for-profit sector, drafting legislation, litigating cases, developing public policy, and doing it with the utmost of integrity. And I found myself working for an organization, as I said, that claims to be a civil rights organization, but fails to honor its own values. They have standards that they ignored. They said they would be transparent in their decisions, and they failed to do that. And they have a history of systemic racism, and that has continued to today, and it applies to me, where Black and brown people in the organization have been treated differently time and time again. So I was disappointed, I was hurt, but I also knew I had a responsibility as a civil rights lawyer, as a leader, to make sure that I stood up. And I stood up to systemic discrimination, and that's what I'm doing today.
So for so many, Alphonso, sitting at home who are not perhaps part of a community that's been marginalized, who think, well, a group like this could never discriminate, who may not know about the underbelly and an ugly secret when it comes to Black and brown people within certain marginalized groups. What would you say to them to get them to understand that discrimination, racism exists in all corners?
That's such a great question, because we sometimes think that because you are from a marginalized community, that you can't really discriminate against other marginalized communities. But in fact, in some marginalized communities, discrimination against Black and brown people is even worse. As a Black man and a gay man, I can tell you that I have faced some of the worst discrimination from members of my own community, where I've been rejected because I'm Black, where I've been rejected because I'm African. And we see that time and time again. This movement, just so we're clear, was originally founded by Black and brown transgender people, and they were disregarded by the community. They were not recognized as the leaders that they are. And when I took over the organization, one of the things I wanted to do was really break that cycle. I wanted to start focusing on issues that are affecting marginalized communities, Black and brown people. And I faced backlash from an entrenched system that is really supported largely by white, gay, wealthy men. Now, I'm not suggesting that every white, gay, wealthy man does not support Black people, but I can certainly tell you that the entrenched system within HRC is rooted in systemic discrimination and bias.
So I want to get to the specifics, because you've said a lot there, and we'll get to what the interim president of the organization is saying now. But what specifically did they do? Because it sounds like, based on what you're saying this morning, that your policies, your practices, wanting to right a wrong, made you a target.
Absolutely. It definitely made me a target, and I'll give you a few examples. I gave a speech that was titled See Beyond Yourselves, because I wanted people to really see how important it is that they see themselves in someone who looks nothing like them. And after that speech, one of the most prominent board members, a white man, said to me, "You should stop telling people that you're Black in your speeches. We can see that you're Black. You should stop saying that."
Mm.
I was told by members of the board that I was underpaid because I'm Black. They tried to give me a 30% increase in my salary when my contract was up for renewal. I was told by a senior vice president within the organization that I should remove from my bio and stop telling people that I'm Black, the first Black president in the organization's history, because it would alienate white donors. That same senior vice president told a Black employee that she should not meet with a Black consulting firm because you know how Black people are when they get together. And he was afraid that they wouldn't perform because she was interfacing with them. That is the climate within the
So,
organization, and that is what I
yeah, so
experienced. It is unacceptable and it's unlawful.
what you're describing is unacceptable. And it'll play out in court to see what a jury perhaps believes. We're looking at your tweet. I also want to put up that statement that I alluded to from the HRC interim president. If we could put that on the screen, because I do want you to react to it. It reads in part, Mr. David's complaint is riddled with untruths. We are confident through the legal process that it will be apparent that Mr. David's termination was based on clear violations of his contract and HRC's mission. And as president of HRC, he was treated fairly and equally. It's interesting because HRC, on behalf of others who are aggrieved, has put out statements against things like that, those blanket denials. What's your reaction to that statement?
It really saddens me, and it should send a clear message to everyone. HRC's response here tells you everything you need to know about the organization. Let's remember, I filed a 16-page federal civil rights lawsuit, and on the same day, 3 other Black and brown men said to the press that the organization is riddled with racism and systemic bias. What does HRC do? Do they conduct an investigation? Do they hire an outside law firm to look at the issue? No. Instead, they come up with a media campaign to attack me. And that tells you everything you need to know. This is not an organization that's interested in addressing systemic discrimination, because if they were, they would have issued a public statement saying, we're concerned about these allegations and we will look into them. But that's not what they did. They decided to attack me. So I don't accept anything that they're saying. And just quickly, another point that I want to make. Before I took this job, there was a white president that was running this organization. And when he ran that organization, there was a report that was issued showing that the majority of employees said that there was racism within the organization. Every single senior vice president said that they had heard disparaging remarks. And one of the senior vice presidents used the N-word on 2 separate occasions. They never fired that president. That tells you whether or not they're applying the same policy to me.
We only have about 30 seconds left, and it's unfair, but I do have two points or questions to raise with you. After everything you've said, though, they still made you the president, the first Black president. And I wonder how you square that with what you're alleging now. And then I guess I also wonder, why not break off? Given everything that you've said, why not break off and have a separate organization who does work on the important issues that you've described?
Well, with respect to hiring me, I think we all in the Black community understand tokenism. And I think we also understand opportunism, where organizations, white-led organizations, will use us in order to build alliances with Black and brown communities to legitimize the work that they're doing. And I believe that's what they tried to do here. With respect to your second question, that is indeed something that I'm focused on. There are organizations that focus on LGBTQ people, the National Black Justice Coalition. There are organizations like Native Son. There are organizations like Color of Change that work on behalf of marginalized communities and specifically Black people. But we need more. And one of the things that I think this lawsuit will will raise is, do we need to create our own organization as opposed to relying on HRC to represent the interests of Black and Brown LGBTQ people? And I think that time has come.
Well, you certainly have your supporters, not just those who are speaking out against your lawsuit and whatever's to come of it. We wish you the best, Alphonso David. I hope you will join us again on Start Your Day, because yours remains an important voice in our community. We wish you all the best as you continue to advocate and stand up for what's right. Thank you, and have a great day.